Hello everybody and welcome to a very wet morning here at the Gwili Railway for their Rail Oddities event, of which I'm part of. So welcome to LMM as we have to look through the day and I do things. It's very Welsh wet. Laughing Dad is one of my favourite locomotives of all time. I absolutely love the 1369. I think it's beautiful.
First off shed and tasked with the job of readying the train for the day's service was RSH number 7849 of 1955, named number 47, Marlborough. The weather decided it would be very stereotypically Welsh and remain very wet. So I followed this little thing undercover to see some of the layouts and displays on the show. There was a really good variety of different and interesting models, like this police wagon, which really did make me chuckle, and this narrow gauge but J70 derived tram and wagon. There were also these rather fun reimaginings of the rocket, including this rather lovely version based on the Indian monorail, and some models inspired by the works of Emmett. The rather impressive model tank had also made it into the dry, and alongside it was displayed with a model of its gearbox, of how it all works together through multiple differentials to provide drive. I then decided to head back out into the frankly delightful weather to see 1369 approach with the passenger stock. So I decided to do the only sensible thing and go back undercover.
Most importantly, by the time I'm filming this, I literally just released the video on this the other day. So, having done the full size thing, I've now got the model. So what we've got here is shunting puzzle. Everything's got a marker on the side of it, which corresponds to the order of these things here. So I've just finished shunting and putting this together. It's a really good little system of bringing people into the hobby and doing shunting puzzles, so highly entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
The time it had taken me to complete the puzzle gave the rain sufficient time to see what the next valley over was like. Making the most of the brief dry spell, the chaps from Didcot decided they would have a go at racing the train. And yes, that is the very same pump trolley that I got to have a go on a few weeks ago back at Didcot. The video is coming up on the screen now if you want to go and check that one out. It was around this point that I was offered a footplate ride on the Pannier, which I obviously said yes to. So I went for a ride down to Gwili Junction, where we ran around and went on to the front of the train so we would double head with more Barrow.
Little supply of Welsh in the corner.
And then we were off, back up the line on the way to Bromwith Arms. Now, I can't really express just how exciting it was to be on a Great Western locomotive working its way up a Welsh valley. This was basically perfect and just such an enjoyable footplate. I could almost believe that I was back in the day. And it was super fun to be part of a double header as well. As well as being able to ride on the Mark 1s behind the steam or the Resident 03, some of the visiting rail oddities were also offering rides, meaning you could sample what it was like to travel on a Wickham or perhaps even the pump trolley, which made the day a bit more special. Having disembarked and watched the train depart, I went to have a look at the rail oddities, which included things like Rhodey the Road Railer and Jerry, this Ford Escort van done up in British Railway livery, property of the wonderful Corn Wagon and Wagon Group. And of course, there was the pump trolley, courtesy of the boys at Didcot. There was also this absolutely marvellous miniature traction engine which had arrived under its own steam and been parked up in the yard for everybody to admire. One of my favourite vehicles in attendance was this Road Railer Land Rover. A vehicle able to go on rail and road. It's just awesome and I really want one. And you might well recognise the Wickham Trolley, which was bought courtesy of the boys over at Midsummer Norton of the Somerset and Dorset Railway Trust. We had to wait for the service train to arrive in Bromwith Arms and then depart again to clear the line before the next demonstration could take place. And amazingly, it had now decided to stop raining and showed the promise of maybe being a better day. I also got the opportunity to head up into the signal box and have a look at how the railways run up there. And with the train out of the way, the thing I really wanted to see began: the demonstration of Selwyn the rail crane. And with the demo finished, the line was clear for 1369 to once again charge up the line. On this trip, it had left Moorbarrow behind, which then needed to reposition itself, and so I took the opportunity to grab a quick footplate ride.
There's quite a few videos of the Gwili railway over the years. I've been looking at a lot of them since I started.
And with Moorbarrow out of the way, I wandered down the line to join the Wickham.
On for a sight walk. Just take a ride on this, which is I think the furthest I'm going to have travelled on Wickham for some time. Oh, sir.
Hello.
Having seen the little Wickham trundle down the line and cross over the level crossing, the boys from Didcot decided that they also wanted to go, and I managed to blag myself a ride, being trusted with the responsibility of ringing the bell at key moments, and frankly, I absolutely loved it. By the time we'd finished with that, I thought maybe it was time for a ride up the line on the train. So we hopped aboard the 03 and it set off up the line. Which turned out to be absolutely stunning. The main reason I wanted to head up the line was to get to the next station where the HST was meant to be firing up for the first time in public.
So we came up here to see the HST, which is funny enough where I am now, but disappointingly this illuminated light here and this gauge here mean that despite it was filled up with coolant yesterday, it currently has no coolant, so that's put the kind of kibosh on starting it up and having its first public run. So obviously the group here are very disappointed. However, it has meant that I've had a walk through an HST, so we're now going to reverse that, and I'm going to take you guys for a walk this way through the inside of an HST, which is genuinely pretty cool, because I haven't wandered through something like this for quite some time. The first thing is that it is all very, very narrow. So, here we go. Yeah, it is very, very tight. This is the cooling folly, which, give me the idea of the space here, guys, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it is very, very, very tight to work through. So this is our engine down here. This is the power unit. This is a V16. And then here, generator, which you don't touch when it's working because it will bite you. But yeah, hell of a thing. And then through here, back to the cab, which is well worth it.
Before hopping on the train to go back, I managed to get a quick look around at some of the stored motive power, and then lagged my way onto the footplate of the 03 for the return journey. I arrived back in time to fulfill my role as the commentator for the cavalcade, so sit back and enjoy some of the highlights.
I'm going to talk as little as possible because I'm about to introduce you to this gentleman. So this is Lawrie. I know lots of you know Lawrie already from his YouTube videos. That whistle tells me there's 2 locomotives coming. I'll hand over to Lawrie, who'll tell you a bit more about them as they come through. Shall we give Lawrie a round of applause as he comes on the set microphone? Hello everybody. Right, so this is a bit different for me. Normally there's a camera and stuff and I've got multiple takes to do this. So the first thing I'm going to pronounce this with is my pronunciation of many things will be wrong. So when I say something wrong, we're just going to pretend that's the new way we're going to talk about it. So if we can all agree with that, that'd be lovely. Anyway, starting off, we have Wheelbarrow. Now this thing is a RSH built in 1955 for use at the National Coal Board in the Newfoundland area at Backworth Colliery. And while working there, he was given this smart royal blue livery and crate number 47. And then he subsequently moved to a wooden colliery for his preservation in 1973. It gained its name during a visit at the North Moors Railway. Wheelbarrow is the fictional name of Open Station in Captain Place. Wheelbarrow is something of a rubbish existence, but they haven't How much of that did you hear and how much do you want that repeated for? There's 2 steam engines, they're very nice, they went that way.
How did Paul Barrow get his name again?
I've memorised this. North Yorkshire Moors fictional TV series. There we go. More questions from the floor, ladies and gentlemen. More questions. So while we wait for the crane up there to manoeuvre itself into position, we will have a lovely day. Oh, this sounds great. So I do apologise for the weather, and I equally feel very guilty for being in here undercover. Where it is, just for the record, delightful. So I hope I will enjoy this lovely weather. I'll just slow down talking, maybe this will make it better. The crane operated across Britain, but was based in South Wales from 1983 until 2008 and was operational until 2017. Which I'm reliably informed is the most modern and newest thing on the railway. And actually the slowest by quite some way. I'm reliably informed it has 2 gears, of which we have slow and then much slower. Currently we are in slow gear with a top speed of 5 miles an hour. And I think that's very optimistic, frankly, at the moment. Yeah, we have gates there which need to be opened for us to go further. I've stood in the rain and now my notes are running. So, this is Track Inspection Land Rover number 976014, which appears courtesy of Alex Davis and the Dean Forest Railway. It is the youngest vehicle at the event, having been built in 1997, and it saw use as a track inspection vehicle on the national network, particularly in time for working around the 7 tunnel. It subsequently entered rotation at the East Lancs Railway, being purchased prominently by Alex Davis in 2019, which is now the Seas Regular Service Park with the Gala. So the pump trolley spent its working life on the branch lines around Reading, and it was discovered by members of the Great Western Society in 1975, and was subsequently restored to operational condition in 1983, and has been topped off by a warning bell from the shut battery reporting. This is a rare opportunity to see outside of the basic vehicle. You drive it with a clutch. It's very strange. It's like sitting in a car. So you've got your accelerator, your clutch, and a gearbox, but no steering wheel. And that is the single weirdest sensation to sit down and not have the familiar sensations. Now, when it was outshocked from the works, it carried VR Maroon, but certainly by the time it was renumbered as TR18, it'd be repainted into yellow, possibly during the 1970s, when this colour Now, I'm not going to read the information again, we're just going to smile and wave at it. But funny enough, as it's all gone that way, we're going to now reverse it and everything comes back that way. I know the wonders do never cease. It's pretty exciting, isn't it? So this will be the main way we get to see absolutely everything trundling back together all in one, and appreciate the rail oddities of all the weird and wonderful things that actually do run on the rails in this country. And if you can't hear me for any of this, I do apologise. This is a very different setup. Give us a thumbs up if you can still hear us and we sound alright. We got like 3 thumbs up. 3 of you can hear me. That's super. That's good enough.
So, it is now the end of the day here at the Gwili Railway's Rail Oddities event, and most annoyingly, it stopped raining. It has rained continuously for almost the entirety of the day, particularly when I was doing my little bit of announcing the cavalcade. And, yeah, it's now stopped. However, it's a wonderful little railway, so a great big thank you to the Gwili Railway for inviting me to come along and be part of the event. I've had a lovely time, and a huge thank you to each and every one of you who've come up and said hello to me during the day. You have no idea how lovely it is and how rewarding it is that you guys enjoy the channel and want to come up and say hello. So to all of you, thank you so much. I'm really honoured. It's been a lovely day. And for more information about the Gwili Railway, there are links in the video description to tell you about other things they've got going on and their Facebook. And with that, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go and have another gander at those. And if you have enjoyed this video, how about clicking somewhere there for another one of our days out, or over there for one of our locomotive reviews. And hopefully we're going to do all this again next year. So hopefully, if you haven't made this one and you like what you see in the video, we'll see you then. I cannot believe that it's now stopped raining. Try.